something about there's some stupid childish thing about who's better, which whatever. Who cares? I mean, they care obviously, unless it's a publicity stunt.
Real firm. He's the realest.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Real Firm podcast. Thanks for tuning back in, or for the first time, perhaps. Glad to have you. We're back. I'm back. Here after coming off after our first artist interview, other than Rockstar Life in a while, which was great. Unfortunately, it's going to take a minute to get them lined up in a schedule to where I can have one every week. So we're going a little back and forth here, but I've got some fun stuff to talk about. We're going to keep it in the music space for the most part today. And by we, I mean me and you who are listening and or watching from either the Real Firm Podcast YouTube channel or all of the audio platforms. Excuse me, I just burped. My bad. If you're on the audio platforms, give us I keep saying us, but it's us. It's the proverbial us, the royal we, as they say. A nice review, star rating, whatever. It's fine either way. I was actually going to do a more interesting solo podcast. I've started doing things in my car. I've figured out a way to kind of set up a recording situation in my car, which is first I tried out with music, and is still I filmed everything that I want for that. It's going to be a FERM channel, main channel upload. I got to kick myself into finishing the edit, but I'm trying to, it's a whole fun thing. There's a extra funny thing that happens at the if you remember a man by the name of Cletus, you'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I was going to try out recording in the car for a fun little setting and different environment. And with that, as an experiment for potential, being that I can't bring a guest in this here space, the car being my only private space that I own, so that would have been cool. But I had a whack rough morning, didn't sleep well for some reasons that I won't fully get into, but the point is, I'm one of those people, if I don't get the right amount of sleep, the first 12 hour, almost 12 hours ago. I'm recording this 5 o'clock on a Monday, the day before I release the audio of these. And so I was going to go out in my car and try it out, record, but I just didn't have enough time by the time I finished the recap for the live streams and all that. So I said, let me just do it here. I got to keep it consistent. I don't want to miss the day. So I hope you stick with me, and I appreciate you for that. Either way, there will be more guests. Like I said, just gotta, hopefully for next week's episode, I will have arranged someone. Maybe we'll be in the car, maybe we'll be in their space, or SBE. Shout out to SBE. If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. It's the one before this. They let me record in their studio space, and they have some extra rooms in there, and they offered to let me use it from time to time if I need. So I might take them up on that at some point. But for now, it's just been a rushed thing. Easter weekend, a lot of family stuff going on. So here we are. Here I am. And so I got some fun. I'm gonna read delve into some music news, so to speak, and to help myself get out of this funk. I'm starting to feel kind of normal from not sleeping as well. But I gotta take the beer break. Soothes my thunderous mind. Okay, so we got there's a couple interesting developments. Not, I mean, well, you got the P Diddy the Diddler, Mr. Diddler going on, but I won't get into that. Everyone's talking about that. Uh, anyway, there's like three articles I wanted to point out here. We'll start off with one of them. Country is, if you haven't noticed, if you're not in the space of being, mostly it's mostly artists that are people who are trying to make music, because I hear a lot of in my community too, a lot of people trying out country stuff, and it's definitely without a doubt on the rise in pop music, pop culture. It's becoming more popular. It's making more crossovers, and apparently, and I'm not one. This I think this kind of makes me reading these articles fairly interesting, at least to me, because from my perspective, I really don't follow this stuff unless it like just gets thrown in my face. I actually looked these up because I wanted to see maybe there's some interesting. I didn't want to just talk about myself and what's going on in my life. Let's talk about some music news. So I looked up some headlines, articles, recent ones, and today is April 1st, the day I'm recording this, and April Fool's Day, or I'm pretty sure none of these are April Fool's Day articles. Beyonce has come out with her album, Beyonce's Act 2 Cowboy Carter, which has broken records. What was the record here? On Friday, March 29th, Beyonce's Cowboy Carter became Spotify's most streamed album in a single day in 2024 so far. So it broke a 2024 record for Spotify, at least. This is also the first time a country album holds the title this year. And Beyonce is not known as a country artist, if you, for some reason, are not aware of that. Of course, she's a mega pop star, just in general, but she has all kinds of pop-esque sounds. But mainly, apparently she really delves into the country on this album, and she's breaking records, of course. The country artists are the OG country artists probably get all pissed about this kind of thing. Oh, these pop stars are breaking into our demographic. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, maybe some of them are thinking that, but it's just, I found it pretty interesting because I've been noticing this more and more. Just last week, one of the artists that I've never heard or would have thought to hear him try country submitted like a country demo experiment, and I thought it was actually, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it had like demo quality. If it was like, if he went all out on the production value, it might have made the faves. That's how like interesting it was, and how surprised I was. That degree of impression. And so yeah, this thing is popping up, all this country invasion into the mainstream. Now, of course, country's always been mainstream in its own way, but into the other streams of the main. So Beyonce's doing it, and she's breaking records already. Some other interesting things about this. And this is the article I'm referencing here is a CNN. Yeah. Although it says Yahoo Entertainment at the top, but I guess it's also a CNN article. And Spotify and Amazon Music Records. So both Spotify and Amazon shattered records. Let's see. So there's another interesting thing. So this isn't her first country endeavor. She actually, what was it? So there's a Times Square. Jesus Christ, New York Times. My tired brain still kicking. New York Times article that I was reading, but then by the time I went back to it, it said, you gotta sign up to keep reading, but I had already read it. but I'm trying to remember. I think in that article, that was like an opinion piece, a review of it, sort of. And the author of the article said that that she did a collab with she did something in 2016 that was a country thing, so it wasn't her first country. And she specifically said, I guess she said on Instagram that she's not calling it a country album herself. And again, this is a weird and unusual perspective coming from me, because I'm not too familiar with Beyonce other than the hits, what I've heard when I walk into bars or other establishments or on the radio in the car or something. And so I have not listened to this album at all. I'm just making some commentary on the popular culture goings on and giving my take. My take is, I think it's cool. Do what you. She's. I mean, at this point, I can't imagine she's feeling the pressure to like stay relevant. I mean, if you're Beyonce, you're already. I mean, everything's got a time tag on it. Everyone's career at some point, but she seems like someone that wouldn't really care about that. She's probably just having fun, and it's a fresh new thing. So good for her. I take no issue with this, but I did find it interesting. It ties into my observations of lots of people getting into the whole country space that aren't typically, that never went into the country space, or that have even probably disliked country because it's one of the most publicly shit upon genres in music history, including myself, up until the age of like 20 something. I'm almost 31 a couple weeks, Jesus Christ, but I don't look it, so it's cool. I'm a vampire. I pass. Not that that has anything to do with what I'm talking about, but yeah, I accept country. I don't actively pursue listening to it. I don't seek it out, but I no longer actively hate it. It used to. I understand it though. Music is very personal, and a very emotional thing for people. Because I remember when I was a kid, I actively hated it because it made me like to me it all kind of sounded the same. Everyone's voice they had the same twang in the voice, and they were all talking about the same thing, same kind of things, recycled sort of. But mainly it gave me a feeling of being in I didn't grow up in the South. I live in Florida now. I was born here, but I grew up in the Northeast. But this area of Florida is kind of the north of the South anyway, as most people would agree. It's not too much southern culture. But when I was a kid, I was like so opposed, like it made me like feel like I was in some weird southern culture when I would hear it. So it would like revolt me. It would revolt my spirit. But then it made many growing up, maturing, and breakthroughs of the mental stuff, which that's a whole story on that whole timeline of my musical taste evolution. Now I completely can have an open mind about anything. Truly, I'll at least give it a shot. Like food, I'm the same way with food. I've always been that way with food, even as a little kid. I'll try anything once. I might not like it, but I'll try it if it's edible and not going to poison me or have the potential to. Although I do eat raw oysters from time to time, and you can potentially die if there's a virus, specific bacteria or whatever. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Shout out to Beyonce for the country records here. Hashtag Cowboy Carter. Couldn't expect anything less from the Queen. Tips cowboy hat. Hashtag Cowboy Carter. Just reading some things from this article. Yeah, so that's I think that's really cool. We got who knows, and then you got the country rap, which has kind of emerged in the past couple years. What's that guy? Broadnax. I remember hearing him for the first time. I was like, whoa, this is really awesome. The way you'd have to listen to it to understand, I guess. But yeah, it's slowly it's a country invasion of music, and I'm here for it. I'm interested. I'm more interested in the fusions instead of the pure pop country like the Keith Urbans or the Rascal Flatts, or who's the guy that people say is secretly a serial killer. Brett Far. Oh shit, I forgot his name. Anyway, he's like the biggest country music star. Let me take a sip of my beer and try to figure this out. Garth Brooks. I don't know where I got Brett from. Garth Brooks. Forget what I said earlier about those rumors. Anyway, anyway. Yeah, I'm not into that. But the fusion stuff, I like. That's where new sounds come from, and you mix things together, you come out with new vibes. So shout out to the country invasion one last time before I move on to another article here. Again, solo episode. Keep it short so I don't run out of breath and die. But I'm slowly getting better at the solo thing. Hope you like it. Thanks for sticking around, though. If you're hearing me say this, you are being thanked. Next up is so the whole Future, Metro Boomin, and Kendrick Lamar broke another. I mean, this isn't really a record, but they hit number one on the Billboard Hot 100 recently for their track "Like That." I did actually listen to this one. It didn't, to be honest, and this is one of the reasons why I don't like actively seek out new hip hop that much mainstream. It just a lot of the times it just doesn't do much for me. Just the way it sounds. A Future and Kendrick Lamar I both really fucked with. Future in his own stuff, and then when I'm not sure I've ever actively listened to a Kendrick Lamar, his solo stuff, but I've heard him as features on songs, and like, yeah, the guy's awesome. And Future, I really enjoyed a lot of his solo work as well, and his work with Drake, which brings me to this whole thing, because there's like, apparently, the album's called We Don't Trust You, and I guess there's like this whole beef with against Drake and J. Cole. Like, I don't really get it exactly what's going on. Something about some stupid childish thing about who's better, which whatever. Who cares? I mean, they care, obviously, unless it's a publicity stunt, which could very well be. Very effective way to I'm sure a lot of diss tracks over in the history of hip-hop have been manufactured for public outrage, not outrage, but intrigue, that's the word. So yeah, we've got that beer sip break. Billboard Hot 100. Future and Lamar each land their third Hot 100 leader, while Metro Boomin earns his first. Metro Boomin, I don't think I really knew about. I kind of live under a rock when it comes to hip-hop, not gonna lie. I always have. Not so... I know more than I did before the age of 25. A lot more, but, yeah, I don't gravitate towards it, but I appreciate it when I hear it, when something gets me. And that's what brings me back to what I was saying when I first mentioned that I actually listened to the song. Nothing, like, it did nothing for me. I acknowledge and this happens on the live streams all the time. I don't say that out loud because I don't think that's helpful. That's not the purpose of that forum, the upcoming artist radio live streams. I like to point out the positives. I don't think saying your song did nothing for me and it doesn't vibe with me really helps them at all. I just point out what I like about it, what they did good, or what they could do better fundamentally, musically, or to my own taste. But it's just another example that reinforces the belief in my mind that really anything can. You shouldn't, just because you think something isn't good doesn't mean it won't be receptive. It can't be successful. And that's my whole ethos when I do the live streams, because just because I don't feel anything from it doesn't mean it can't be Billboard #1, because like I said, the song just didn't strike me as anything that special. I mean, sorry, not mad respect to Future, Metro Boomin, and Kendrick Lamar. Again, I actively enjoy Future's music. But even in that song, like, just, I don't know, there's something about, it seems like they're focusing more on the dissing whole beef situation, maybe, and they didn't do, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it was a YouTube link that said new audio, and it was under someone, it wasn't under any of their, I'm sure it was the official audio, though. I don't see how they could, yeah, never mind. The point is, things can be widely received, successful, and you can absolutely not understand it. Of course, these men already have very successful careers, so it's not surprising either. Regardless of how I think it sounds. They're not like breakout stars or anything, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so I wonder if they're really beefing. Is it a fake beef to boost both their careers? I think it seems kind of real, since it's 2v3, 2v2. Something about the big three, I'm the big me. That was one of the lyrics from Kendrick, I think. And then the Drake and J. Cole are like, no, we're the best. It gives me high school vibes, which is like emotionally traumatic to me, so that just turns me off, which could be psychologically why I was immediately not receptive to the song, because I know it's a diss. However, there's 2 diss tracks that I thoroughly enjoy listening to, which is the MGK and Eminem ones, Rap Devil and Rap God. It is very entertaining, and Eminem, I love the way Eminem does his disses. But so yeah, just a matter of preference of style and taste is all. Excuse me for burp. So yeah, I mean, we've got a diss track at Billboard #1. Again, much respect to him. Congratulations to Future, Metro Boomin, and Kendrick Lamar for your success. I wish you the best against your battle versus J. Cole and Drake. Now, I don't know if J. Cole and Drake are making a separate. Will they be making us? Did they already make us? I think they already made a diss, something like that. Sneak this, and then now these guys are I don't know. I really don't know what I'm talking about. This is all a speculation and assumption based off this one article. This is the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. So yeah, We Don't Trust You is their new album. Maybe, I mean, there's probably some other tracks on there that I would enjoy. Well, only time will tell if I end up hearing them. We'll see. I'll report back if I remember to. And last but not least, interesting music celebrity news here. Another kind of beef, but not really. Billie Eilish hits back after Taylor Swift fans slam her for shady diss to the Eras Tour star. So apparently it's about being wasteful in doing vinyl, being greedy, and it's like a climate change. It's like the whole planet conservation extremist movement of Not now. I'm not against that necessarily. I do definitely think we shouldn't be wasting. We should be treating the planet as best we can within reason for the running of society and everyone's general comfort and stability. But I'm not as extreme as to like speak out like some of these young, like Greta Thunberg and people doing wild protests. Like that's gonna help. What they like threw paint at them famous paintings or like nailed them, chained themselves to. I don't know. It's insane. But that kind of stuff is a little crazy. But I feel kind of bad for Billie Eilish, who's only 22. So, which is, you do hear this a lot, mostly from either hardcore left-wing political pundits, because that's one of their things against the right wing, this whole team tribalistic bullshit, us versus them. And the younger generation seems to be more afire with the whole, we need to stop climate change and we need to, which is, I admire it, and just an observation. I'm neutral on the subject as of this time, just for the purpose of journalism, I guess, is what this is. Journalism of journalism. Okay, so the Bad Guy singer had spoken out against the now common practice of artists releasing multiple vinyl versions of their albums in different packaging without regard for the negative impact on the environment. Environmentalists, that's the term I was looking for before. Eilish, 22, has been one of the music industry's most outspoken campaigners on sustainability issues, shared her frustrations in an interview with Billboard. Speaking of Billboard, published on Thursday, March 28th, while she didn't list any artists by name, Swift's fans, known as Swifties, began to speculate that her comment was a thinly... So she didn't even name her. And Taylor Swift, about their idol, 34, which is the age of Taylor Swift. The Eras Tour star has become known for not only releasing recorded versions of her early albums, but putting out multiple slightly tweaked physical and digital. I mean, this is capitalizing on the market. You got hundreds of millions, maybe not billions, but probably tens of millions to hundreds of millions of fans, rabid fans, who will buy up whatever they can from her. So, and she's got a whole team she's trying to make money for and support. So, you know, shout out to the queen of the mainstream, Taylor Swift. Who, by the way, another artist that I really irked me when I was younger, because it did seem like I was supposed to. It was music meant for teenage girls, but there are some songs by her that genuinely touch my soul, and she's an amazingly talented, beautiful songwriter and performer, or performer. She may not write all of her songs. I do not know. The point is, the poor Billie Eilish got attacked. The shady diss of our queen, some referred to it. Some even pointed out Swift's superior album sales compared to Eilish's. Now that's just, come on. They're just attacking poor Billie for... So Billie Eilish doesn't even specifically name drop Taylor Swift in her statement about environmentalist concernedness about the environment. And the Swifties found it, assumed that that's what she was talking about, which she probably had that in mind, but didn't even name her, and then just starts going after her on the internet, as they do, and basically saying, you suck compared to Taylor Swift based on your record sales. Oh, Maron, the internet makes me want to quit. The internet. That's a cyclical statement that does make sense. The internet makes me want to quit the internet. I'm still on here for now. You never know. Let's continue. The furor prompted Eilish to try and clear things up by posting a statement to her Instagram stories and tagging her original Billboard interview. Okay, so it would be so awesome if people would stop putting words into my mouth and actually read what I said in that Billboard article. I wasn't singling anyone out. These are industry-wide systemic issues, which is definitely, I'm sure the industry is, that's the other thing. It's not just Taylor that's probably making these decisions. It's all these industry executives that are like, that are also making money from her, and the more money they get when they make more sales. So they're like, how many things can we sell? I mean, the marketing drives me insane. It's why I'm so bad at it, and it's continued to be relatively unsuccessful on the internet myself, because I just hate I need help, someone to do it for me. But anyway, so yeah, that's what they're doing. They're like, we got to make as much money. We have millions of screaming young girls and other people of other identities and ages that will lap up anything we sell with Taylor Swift's name and work on it. And we're going to have to make money off, as much money off as possible. So that's capitalism. That's the music industry. It is what it is. And that's what she's saying. That's what Billie's saying. She's just industry-wide systemic issues, whatever. She went on to admit that she too was guilty of releasing variants to get fans to buy the same album multiple times, although she wasn't clear on if those are her decisions or that of the record label. Exactly. When it comes to variants, so many artists release them, including me, which I clearly state in the article. The climate crisis is now, and it's about all of us being part of the problem and trying to do better. Sheesh. Some of the biggest artists in the world are making fucking 40 different vinyl packages that have a different unique thing just to get you to keep buying more. That is really insane, and I can't believe people buy all those different things. But if it's selling, keep selling it, I guess, for the sake of getting your bag. I respect it. However, she says, that was me saying however. She says, it's so wasteful and it's irritating to me that we're still at a point where you care that much about your numbers and you care that much about making money, and it's all your favorite artists doing that shit. So at this point, she's addressing the people that are calling her out. And she's got a good point. Again, respect. So far no shade or disrespect to anyone that I've brought up today in these articles. They've all handled these. Well, the other ones weren't getting called out by anyone, but aside from the beefs. But shout out to Billie Eilish for handling that very well at the ripe age of 22. And getting into the industry when she was 17. I have a crazy story about when I actually thought I met her at a Halloween party in New York City. I'm pretty sure it definitely wasn't her, but that's a story for another time, and it is hilarious and embarrassing. Okay, so little side note there. I'll tell that at some point. It'll come up on one of these episodes, I'm sure. Let's see. I feel like there was something else here. Okay, yeah. Eilish's second and latest album, 2021's Happier Than Ever, was released in 8 different colored vinyl versions. However, in her commitment to sustainability, she used recycled black vinyl plus recycled scraps for colored variants and shrink wrap made from sugarcane. The Oscar and Grammy winner continued. That's awesome. Doing everything you can to minimize the environmental impact. Again, mad respect. People are crazy on the internet. They're attacking this poor girl, and she defends herself very, very effectively, I would say. The What I Was Made For singer expressed that she is disappointed other artists do not share her commitment to the environment. This is where it gets a little, because now she's kind of calling out other people specifically, indirectly. I can't express to you how wasteful it is, she added, about the growth of numerous vinyl versions of the same album. It is right in front of our faces and people are just getting away with it left and right, and I find it really frustrating as somebody who really goes out of my way to be sustainable and do the best I can and try to involve everybody in my team in being sustainable. Excuse me. Yeah, shout out to her. I just realized this is 35 minutes. Oh, damn. Guess I've been having a fun time talking. Shout out to her, Billie Eilish, doing everything she can to make things sustainable in a in a wild, degrading environment indeed. Over time, some would argue not, but I do live in a state that they say will be underwater in a certain indefinite period of time, but sooner rather than later, they say. I don't know. The science seems to point that way, but I have no need to get into that right now. However, I'm pretty neutral on this as well. But I do respect her. What I'm not neutral on, this is where I take the stance, is these Swifties going crazy on her. Because that's not cool. But again, that's the internet. People on the internet commenting. As I've said before in past episodes, internet comments, instant messages, especially in a public pile-on format of a comment page with one post and then everyone's commenting on the same thing, is the most debased form of human communication I have ever seen. Sure, they can be nice, they can be great, but most people just do not understand the effect it has on people and themselves. And you got the kids that are growing up that's their main form of communication is that from the day they became like pubescent and aware of life, 12, 13, whatever, just commented on the internet. Wild. Anyway, I should wrap this up. Fun times, Music Muse. Did I just say music? No, my tired brain is shutting down, and I gotta refresh it in 2 hours when I start the live stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you're still listening, God's God, Jesus, Allah, whoever, bless you, and I appreciate you sticking around and watching. We will have another. I'm going to try my best to get another artist guest. At the very least, we'll get Rockstar Life back in here to weigh in on some other stuff. Maybe we wanted to do some Florida Man stories at some point when he came back on next time. But the schedule is getting busy, and I have another opportunity of something that involves music in my own right that I won't talk about yet because I'm not entirely sure how it's going to flesh out. But it may make my schedule even more restricted, but it will be good for me in the long run. So stay tuned for interesting developments of the FERM life. I should make a reality show, the FERM life. Okay, I'm done talking. Peace and love. Have a good rest of the week. See ya. Talk to you next time.